We'll also cover up the electrical box. Hey, good evening, all you men. I was trying to explain to Omar my dilemma of
Wait. We forgot one thing, though. You know what we forgot?
all right. Good evening, all you minties. And welcome back to another episode of Reels Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, my lovely co-host, the Uncanny Omar. There he is.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yeah,
I am
how's
the Uncanny Omar.
and we, Omar loves to start us off with a
It's been a
fun
minute
little.
since I've done that.
Yeah, and it was pretty funny.
It's been a
But
minute.
yeah, so I hope everyone's doing okay. Omar, I know before we begin, you did want to talk about one of the big news stories that did come out today.
Yeah, this week has been this week has been crappy as far as losing legendary people in the comic industry, and we lost Kevin Conroy, and he passed
Mhm.
away yesterday, but his family decided to let the news out today, and it just I was telling my daughters why something like that hurts. Like why someone that you've never met hurts when they pass. And I was trying to explain to them that whether it's a musician or an artist or a writer, that once they're gone, their voice is gone forever. They're No one else can come in and replace them. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have another leading man or another, singer in the band. Somebody else can finish your book series, but it won't be the same voice. And there was just something so unique about his voice that is Batman and will forever be Batman. He was my Batman growing up, and yeah, it's sad. It sucks.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just wanted to get that out. And it's a really it, wa- I the news came early this morning, and I was in the right before I started shooting my it was a Spider-Man video I'm working for next week. And that's kind of sucks because it's like, oh, I gotta get chipper for this stupid video, but this kind of hit like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
That really sucks. Didn't give any time to like sit there and process everything.
And really have time to grieve.
So our
Yeah.
thoughts with his family, and everybody else, and hopefully everybody's doing good. So today we are going to be talking about Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2.
Yep. Also, a bittersweet story, if you will. I mean, because it was filmed after Chadwick Boseman's passing. Another death that hit a lot of folks, I know Omar and I, hard as well, because there's a talent also that's gone. And this is going to be one of those episodes where there's just going to be that tinge of sadness, I think, just because that's how the movie played out. There was a lot of people dealing with grief and loss throughout a lot about the movie, and I think that is something that we're going to definitely touch upon in our review today. But yeah, so we are going to be reviewing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We'll be talking about spoilers, right, Omar?
Yes.
Yeah,
I got the clicker ready.
yeah,
So yeah, one of the hardest things to do in cinema, I think, would be losing your lead
mm-hmm.
and then having to rewrite the script to right around the death. And I think one of the things whenever doing overview or reviews of movies and TV shows is it's despite of everything else going on, it's controversial around the film, like with the actress of Shuri and stuff. Like it's we are reviewing the film, not the actors themselves or
No,
things they have said. And that goes with anything. I mean, I'm the same way with comics. So this one here, though, they were affected by the death of the lead. So I
yes.
think it's hard not to talk about that and the impact it had on the movie because
Yeah,
we
and still
definitely would have had a
COVID too.
different movie. Like,
Yeah,
and we can talk about that after we talk about what we enjoyed, what we didn't like, and what
yeah,
didn't
of
work,
course.
what worked really well. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one. We went to see it last night, and I think that was the fullest I've seen a theater since 2020. So that was nice. I don't know how well it's gonna do, but it was packed.
Yeah, the only other time was Spider-Man: No Way Home for me, but Yeah, it was a great experience getting to see this in theaters. And first thoughts, we'll talk about first thoughts overall of the movie. And for me, thoroughly enjoyed this. It was a definite uptick from the last Marvel movie we had gotten to see in theaters, which is Thor: Love and Thunder. And it's a nice way to round out phase 4 for the Marvel, for the MCU. I know we get Guardians Christmas special, but I guess according to James Gunn, that's more of an epilogue. So this is really like our final phase 4 movie property that we're seeing for Marvel Studios. And it had a lot of Easter eggs. It has a lot of hints at the way forward. And they did replace to oh, we put the spoilers thing up.
Yeah, let's talk about let's go into this and talk about things about the movie.
Yeah, but
So
I guess it
Ryan
did.
Coogler returns to direct and
Yes.
co-write the movie, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, with Joe Robert Cole. So the two of them wrote the screenplay for the film. And of course, we have a lot of returning actors. We had Letitia Wright, who really had to step up. And I think she did a great job of stepping up as Shuri, as the only other child from the ruling family that's alive at this point. Of course, Angela Bassett returns as Queen Ramonda. And those guns, and her outfits and her acting. I mean, that woman is a tour de force. And I say
And
her arms because I was so jealous of them.
I'll be honest, I wasn't a fan of Letitia in the first movie. I kind of hated that casting.
Yeah.
But take into account what needed to happen, like it's a weird movie, right? Because the way it was written for the
Mhm.
sequel, it was like I'm sure Chadwick Boseman was going to be T'Challa, maybe Princess Shuri was going to get kidnapped, but the way
Oh,
it is
yeah.
written, it was Shuri is going to be the central focus of this movie, and her emotions are going to be the central focus of this movie. And holy crap, as the actress, I would have been like, I didn't sign on for this. This is a
Yeah, right.
lot. And to pull it off, and we'll get into details. My gosh, that is a task. Like
Yeah.
that's T'Challa supposed to be Black Panther. I'm
Yeah.
just supposed to be kidnapped.
Yeah,
That was the
Chadwick
idea.
Boseman, a leading man who always knew he was going to be a leading man, owning that movie, right? Now all of a sudden, and now to be fair, I remember when I watched Black Panther, the first one, I always thought some of the strongest characters in the film were Nakia and Queen Ramonda. And for me, I love
Yeah,
Shuri, and even of course Okoye, right? And then M'Baku. So those were his surround. He had just an amazing supporting cast that
he was the. I think when we
yeah,
viewed
because
it, he was the
he had
most.
to play such a straight man to all these very dominant personalities. Yeah, so seeing all of them
Well,
get
I
to
mean,
be
his scenes got
more screen
stolen
time.
every time that Michael B. Jordan was there
Oh,
with
well, yeah,
Killmonger, and it's
yeah,
not the. I mean, Chadwick Boseman's a phenomenal or was a phenomenal actor, but
yes,
I think his character arc kind of came to a close with Civil War. So by the time Black Panther opened, it was about everybody else but him, and he kind of became the most boring character in that movie. At least for me, that's the way I felt. And like I said, I also was not a fan of Shuri in the first movie. In this one, she won me
yeah.
over, and I thought she did a phenomenal job
Oh, I
with
think she
everything that she had to do because
yes,
there was a ton for her to do just because of the
exactly.
script and the things that happen in real life. Uh,
Yeah,
so yeah, this is a my goodness. Going into the movie, we I mean we didn't know that how are they
yeah.
gonna
We stay away
are they
from
gonna
spoilers.
are they gonna CG Chadwick in? Are they gonna kill the
Yeah,
character on screen? So I thought they did it in a really unique way. I think they did it in a way that makes sense. That even if you're a comic book nerd and you push up your glasses, you're like, actually, Tony Stark would have been able to save him. Like, with some kind of technology, you
yeah.
can't help but do that. It happens in comics. But the way it was done with the lack of a soundtrack and the
Was
emotion on
beautiful.
Angela Bassett's face and Shuri's face, it was
Mhm.
just it worked. At least it worked for me. I'm like, okay, this is a good way to send off a character. It's not disrespectful. He's not blowing up on a ship. He's not going out in a blaze of glory, a la Hawkeye and Avengers Assemble. But I think it worked for this film. And then it kind of set the tone for the film because even the intro of Marvel, the Marvel
The
logo with him
dedication, and it had yeah,
with
and instead of
no
all the other
music, holy
yeah,
crap. That theater, I mean, I heard some people sniffling,
I
sniffing.
did. Yeah,
It was
and
emotional.
It was very emotional, and, we go right into that funeral scene, and you see all of Wakanda mourning, and it's such a beautiful
Mhm.
image, and getting to be back in Wakanda, which is such a fully realized place for the MCU, this magical fictional country that doesn't exist in real life, but they were able to just fully realize it so beautifully. And you see it so much so in the funeral scenes. And then of course we get to 1 year later, right? So now they've been a year has passed, and they've been without a Black Panther because that's the whole issue. She couldn't save him. She didn't have the heart-shaped herb because Killmonger burnt them all. So he would have been the last Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa. And then we have all of these, we're after the snap now, we're after the blip, everyone's back. We know what's going on in all the other movies, all the other issues going on between Falcon and Winter Soldier and everything that's going on down on the ground. And you have all these countries that are asking Wakanda, why aren't you sharing the vibranium? And I love, like, that was the scene right there for Angela Bassett. One of the best scenes to open up with, when she's like, you have her just talking to the French ambassador, and then Richard Schiff, who played Toby in West Wing. Love to see him as Secretary of State for the United States. He
Okay.
only political people in my mind. That's it. So that was perfect casting. And seeing them go to toe with Ramonda, and while that's being juxtaposed with Okoye and her Doja or Dora Milaje, and they're fighting those people who are trying to infiltrate one of their vibranium centers or research centers, and they bring those men in, and of course they're French, so we know that's why the French ambassador was just so needing to try to fight for this, and she realized, you guys, we can't trust you with the vibranium, which is true. We've seen what can happen when technology is in the wrong hands. So
I will
Ramonda
say
gave a speech about
that,
that.
that was really cool. Like the shots of like somebody invading the vibranium station and going back and forth, because you don't, in movies you don't know, just like they can do this in comics too. You don't know if that was in the past, you don't know if that's present time, you don't know if that's later on, but it happened to be
Yeah.
in the past because we see them bring in the Dora Milaje, and it comes in with the army men that apparently they took out. That was pretty cool. And man, Angela
Contractor.
Bassett, my gosh, that was, I think a lot of us fan casted her as Storms for freaking years. And I'm
Yes.
glad they kind of held out. And I mean, she still looks good. She still could pull off Storm, especially
Oh yeah.
that natural white hair now, baby. She ain't got to wear no wig.
No, she's gorgeous. And
Um,
like I said, her arms makes me jealous. Yeah. And so there's this idea of these world powers who are trying to somehow get vibranium. And
which
they
makes sense, right? Like if we
makes
live
sense.
in a
Of course they
world
want
where we found this new element that can be
maybe could
warped
protect us
into.
against Thanos.
Well, and I mean, every country's gonna want like. I mean,
Oh, of course.
it would happen, right? We would go and drill and get that crap out of there and destroy the entire country. I think any country would want to jump at the chance of that. Nobody wants
Oh,
to
of
talk
course.
about peace. They all want this for weapons, right? And it's just the way that the nature of the beast. So I thought they handled it really well, and it's all about the tradition of vibranium. Is a Wakandan thing. Like it's been known to just be part of Wakanda, and that's it.
Yeah.
Until we find out that vibranium can also be found somewhere else, because there's this really smart character that created a machine that can go and find vibranium, and they found it underwater. And we'll go back to the really smart character here in a second. So the vibranium is found underwater, and I thought that scene was one of my favorite scenes. I was
Oh,
like,
the
oh my
horror
god.
elements they brought into that, because nothing's
The
scarier to be
the
underwater that far down and you can't
it's
see what's going on around you.
some of the best horror movies. Well, not horror movies, but I guess sci-fi slash horror movies are underwater. But I
Yes.
love the music and the background music that they were using for that scene. When they're not Atlanteans, what are they called?
The Talakans,
The Talcons attack the boat. That was freaking awesome. I
which is
love
full
that.
of CIA. So this is
It
an
was
American.
it was creepy. Like
Yes, it was very creepy.
they were like in a siren kind of way. They were luring the people into the sea, and they were drowning,
I love that
and
element too.
they try to get into the helicopter to get away. And my dude, that's the first time we see Namor.
Yep.
Um, and he throws that helicopter and busts them up, man, throws it right into the water.
Yeah.
But
With
that was a
Lake
really
Bell.
creepy scene, and I was hoping they would keep that for the rest of the movie, but unfortunately they didn't. And
Well,
they went
once
a
you get
lighter tone with the I'm gonna mess that word up again. What is it again? Tal what?
Talocom.
Mm,
Talocom.
tal
Talocom.
Telecom. Okay, sure.
Telecom. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Well, it makes sense because we have to see this underwater world
Mhm.
that Namor lives in, or Namor.
Yeah,
But to be
I
fair,
know.
I was happy to see that Shuri was calling him Namor while he was
Where
saying
everybody else was except for him. He's like, "That's where I got my name, Namor," and I'm like, "Oh, come on,
Namor.
like,
Yeah. Yes.
Namor, dude." Um,
Yes.
so
But
that's where we're introduced to these new characters, where we're introduced to the idea that vibranium exists outside of Wakanda.
yep.
So, meanwhile, there's this whole thing with Shuri that's going on. So, Shuri is a scientist deep down, and she's
Always
having a
has.
hard time believing in the fantasy elements that her whole family believes in, which is
Yeah.
something we didn't really get into in the first movie with Shuri. It was all about T'Challa,
And
T'Chaka,
his
and
spiritual
Ramonda,
journey, right?
and all
Yeah.
his people, right? But we never really found out how Shuri believes. So she's almost like a non-believer in the afterlife, and she tries to explain to her mother whenever she senses her son that
Mhm.
it's not really your son, it's just your brain playing tricks on you. Like, she's trying to be scientific about it, and it's almost heartbreaking. And I'm like, that's when I honestly, when I was hearing that conversation between Ramonda and Shuri, that
Yeah.
is one of my favorite scenes, because that was like, oh, this is the type of movie we're gonna be watching, because we haven't seen that in the MCU. We
No.
haven't seen this a character like Shuri that doesn't believe in the in anything. And it's
Yeah.
just a scientific background. I thought that was a really cool. And then, of course, that gets interrupted right at the time when she's like, "I need to tell you something about your brother," and we never found out. We never
Yeah.
found
It's
out what
true.
Ronaldo
We
was
never
gonna
found
say,
out.
like, because
Mhm.
that's when Namor shows up and he's like, "Let me tell you something. I'll be back." What'd he say? Like,
He's basically
"Oh."
like, "You need to find the scientist who created this weapon or this machine that can find vibranium.
Mhm,
You need to find the scientists, bring them to me so I can kill them because you and I have like-minded things going on. We need to protect what's ours,
mhm.
and if you don't, I'm going to bring my army and we will destroy Wakanda." And yeah, so basically he's threatening their very existence if they don't do this. So of course Ramonda doesn't she decides to send Okoye on a mission who wants to bring Shuri. She doesn't want Shuri to go, but of course I think she thinks it does good for Shuri to get out
Well,
of
this is
Wakanda.
she was going to tell Shuri about the stuff at the
Oh
Versailles.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
I
Yeah.
didn't think about that, honestly, but thank you
Neither
for
did
bringing that
I.
up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Huh.
Until
Yeah,
Omar, you
that
just said it,
actually,
and
that
I
makes
realized that's
perfect sense.
right. Yeah. So of course they can't have a Black Panther movie now until they bring back Everett Ross, played by Martin Freeman. So of course they have to go to him to help figure out who that scientist is. We also find out he was married to Valentina, which I was not aware of. What
I
a weird twist of those
I'll
characters in their
I'll be
development.
honest. I'll be honest. I love her character. I love the actress. She'll always be Elaine, and I love Martin Freeman, but I really could have used,
Less of
like,
them, none
none
of
of
them.
them. That
Yes.
I think that took away from the film, of the film that I thought I was gonna be watching, because they did add almost like a comedic tone to the movie. Not very much now. Not very
Yeah,
much.
because
Very, very, very,
still
very,
had his moments, right?
which, by the
Yeah.
way, the when we were watching this, the one joke that Namor told about, like, or you can just wear a suit or whatever he said, I looked at my brother and I'm like, I swear to God, the MCU better not be, they better not be bringing the quips and the jokes, because I like the tone of the movie so far, because it was a serious tone. It's a movie that you can't have jokes in, and I think they kept that tone.
Yeah, they did.
Um,
They had jokes, but they did it in the appropriate times where it made sense, unlike other movies that had jokes at the most inappropriate times all the time that overplayed after a while. But no, they chose very because they like let's face it, when they go to meet the scientist, who turns out to be a young girl who is a college student named Riri Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, you're right. That's the MCU world building that Kevin Feige said. Look, I know it's your movie. You're right. You're right. I think. See, that's the downside of having
Such a
a
connected
movie
universe.
that's
Yeah.
connected to everything, that it can't be 100% your movie, so you have to add 30 more minutes. And I honestly thought, man, like that third act was too long. Maybe if they had shaved off about 30 minutes, this would have been a great movie. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Where were we with the recap?
We're talking about Riri Williams, who, for example, she
Riri
had
Williams, a character
yes,
from the comic books.
yeah, played by Dominique Thorne, and this is her first introduction. We know she's getting a series later on, I think in 2023.
Another
But
character that added a lot of the humor into the movie that I thought, I like her, but I don't know. It does break the tension, right? Like in serious scenes.
sometimes it's needed, and
And
we
then
can't.
sometimes it can be overused and can come across as almost disrespectful in a way.
Yeah.
I did like her though. I thought she was good, and I thought her character was. Yeah, she was sure in a world where we have a Tony Stark. Sure, there's a teenager girl that can build this stuff. Why she decides to name herself Ironheart with no connections to Tony Stark, Iron Man, we don't know yet. Maybe
We
that's
don't know.
explored in the TV series. So
It probably
definitely, I will say that when we were talking after the movie, I was like, I don't think she was in the original plot. There's no way
No,
that, because that's
it was
too much. And I think like if Chadwick had lived, of course, if he had been in the movie, they would not have introduced that character. It just doesn't make any sense to introduce a character. That would have been the role of Shuri and probably Okoye. Because remember, Shuri was a lot more lighthearted in the first one. My gosh. And then that's something in this movie. That's why I like Letitia in this movie. Because that's what I meant to say earlier. With losing Chadwick Boseman in 2020, going into this movie, it was really hard, and in a good way, to tell who was actually mourning for him and who was supposed to be acting like they're mourning for T'Challa.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, that really helped elevate a lot of the acting, especially with her. Her brother's dead, and holy crap, you can see it on her face. She did it so good. So, you forget how she was in that first movie. It's like she had to mature to another level because of all this.
Yeah, and she went through a lot during the.
Oh, dude, yes, sir. I said, why couldn't they give Lupita the Black Panther outfit?
Yes, a lot of people were saying that in there. Yeah.
Oh, there weren't enough shots of. Anyway, let's keep going.
No, you're fine. Yeah, and no, I agree. Letitia Wright, she had some moments of lightheartedness, but most of it was her dealing with her own grief, and I think she stepped up. And even remember, not only did we have her off camera, issues with whatever her beliefs were about what was going on in our world at the time, but she also suffered some major injuries during her stunt work on the set of Wakanda Forever, which is why they delayed the film or had to delay some of the shooting and stuff. So she was, this was an intense film for her. So I think she pulled it off as jumping into the lead role. But I don't think, in my mind, when I see the plot of this, it would have been like Shuri would have been the person who would have developed some type of machine to find more vibranium, maybe thinking that they needed it, or it was a machine they had and that got stolen. And that's how this was interacted. And then we would never have had Riri Williams. That's my 2 cents on why she was added in there, because it probably would have went to Shuri as that role. But regardless, she's been added in there. And because they get to go to, where she's at in America, they get a great chase scene with the FBI where she gets her first homemade Iron Man suit, and Okoye has that awesome her awesome car, and
dude, when she puts the spear through the car to
amazing
manual, it was as good as I love the first movie.
Yeah, those action sequences they've done in this movie are on point. Like that's good stuff.
I criticized the first movie CG a lot, and it needed to be. But the chase scene in the first movie, oh my gosh, it was beautifully done, and it was just it looked so good. And this one it looks even better. It was awesome. I love that. And that's when we get the rest of Namor squad.
Yes, we are
Namora and what's his name? Atuma show up.
his
Which
second
is
hit.
interesting. When they're underwater, they're not blue, but when they're above water, they're blue. When they're in
Yes,
our world, they're blue.
our world. Yeah,
So yeah, they throw water grenades.
yeah, the water grenades are fantastic. What a great use of water. Like
And,
that's
they brought some sea world creatures with them.
oh, my favorite part of the whole movie. Every time I saw an orca, I just loved that so much. And they use them so well
The
in their
surface
fight.
world. Thank you.
Yeah.
Why did I call it that?
Yeah.
Hey. Dibs, Roberto Rodriguez.
Apparently Lupita's everyone's future baby mama, and
Dude.
she was beautiful in this movie.
Oh
Like
my
there is
God,
no
she's
doubt.
she's
That
so
outfit
good.
she wears, she turns the side, and I think, yeah. I mean,
What?
everyone.
Dude, you can sit your beer on that. Oh my good. I'm sorry.
She's also a fantastic
I'm
actress
sorry, Lupita.
who can speak many different languages, as Omar was
No.
very impressed with her Spanish.
Her fat dude,
Because
Roberto
you know
Rodriguez,
how
when she was
people
rolling her
have
R's, and I didn't know she was born in Mexico. Like so she's Kenyan. Yeah, I did a little digging. She's
you did
Kenyan
some digging.
and
There we
Mexican. And I'm like, woo! Anyway,
there
all right,
we
where
go.
were we? Where were we?
No. Yeah, so of course, Namor ends up taking Shuri and Riri down to Talokan
Sure.
because Shuri basically like, you can't kill her, just take me as a prisoner. So, and Okoye basically has failed in her mission. And then we get this amazing scene again with the Angela Bassett scenes where she basically strips away Okoye's role as general of the Dora Milaje, and you see Okoye pleading with
Dude,
her.
that
Oh,
her
yeah,
face, like
yes.
she's like, this is everything I have. This is everything I am. Dude, that was powerful.
Yeah, this right here. I got it. Yes. I am the queen. Like right here. That is probably that speech right there for her is was I think more so than the other speech, her shining moment in the whole film. And of course that means that Okoye is now a civilian, and it is up to Ramonda. She ends up going to Nakia for help. Nakia's been hanging out in Haiti though since
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Like,
what?
and
Yeah,
it
at
makes
first I
sense. It
understand
makes
why.
sense later, right?
Yeah, but
But
before I didn't understand it.
and let me tell you, the
She
Ramonda
left
scene,
before he blipped, right? Or after? Right after, before?
she said she hadn't been back since before the blip. I thought.
Okay,
I
that's
mean,
right.
obviously she had to have been because of the
Yeah,
things
he would
like
have had
that
to
that
tell
happened.
her, yeah, don't
Now,
do this.
the scene with Ramonda, I feel like that is like taken from the comics. That scene, not the speech, but the scene where she has to do by what's right for the country and
Yes.
put her feelings aside. That was during the betrayal of Ayo and what is her lady?
Anita?
Yeah, when they
Anita.
betrayed Wakanda and they she let them go. She's executing one of them. That's why they became the Midnight Angels. Which by the way, that was in this movie. So
It
yeah,
was.
it was really interesting to see that. And I'm like, okay, that is a nice touch because I mean, she is in charge of this nation, and her daughter's been kidnapped. Her son's dead. Her husband is dead. Like, so stripping the general off, yeah, that made perfect sense to me why she did it.
Yes, exactly. And of course, she goes to Nakia for help, who's been working in a school in Haiti for the last 6 years.
Yo,
And she's
where has Wakabi been? I know the
so
dude
they
couldn't come back for this movie because he was doing something else.
in Nope, because of Nope. Yeah, he couldn't come back because of Nope. Daniel, oh, what is his last? A Kahlua. But they said in there that I think he's in like a prison or something for being a traitor. That's what she kind of mentioned it in the film.
Yeah, they and she said she can go and visit her husband anytime.
And she never does. Yeah. So I think that's where he's at, in some prison. That's a good way to just brush off where the character is without bringing him back because they couldn't get the actor to come back.
Whoa, I haven't seen that name in forever. What's up, Jack?
Oh, hey, Jack.
So yeah, we go and get Nakia's help. She's living in Mexico. Oh, I'm sorry, Haiti. Hey, my bad. She went to Mexico to go and explore, and that's where she started spitting the Spanish. But yeah, she goes and tries to rescue Shuri. This is where we see the underwater part of this movie.
Oh,
This is where we see Namor's origin. This is where we see everybody living underwater. And
Yes.
here's the thing. When Namor was talking about, like, I've got, so many more people than you do. We have vibranium. I was like, hey, man, have you seen Wakanda? They got flying ships and they can hide things with, like, invisible shields. You got 2 whales. Where's all, like, I'll be honest with you. As we were watching this, I'm like, I was expecting Avatar type of, like,
Oh, okay.
world, right? Like, huge, like, the technologically advanced world, but it's like these people are living with fish, and nothing wrong with living with fish, but I was just like, they can't fight Wakanda.
Well, they have some technological advances,
Yeah,
like the way
water grenades, right?
Yeah, the water grenades, their masks that they can wear when they're on land, things like that they had to create. But they do hold fast, like Wakanda does, to their original culture, which, they base it off of like an Aztecan, Mesoamerican.
I thought about that, Craig. I thought about
Yeah.
Neymar himself being a one-man army, which is true, right? He's
a mutant.
Yeah, he's a mutant. He's a mutant.
He does it.
But also, if you dry his ass out, that's it. Game over, man. There goes Wakanda.
Yeah.
That's it. Game over. You just dry him out.
Exactly. Yeah. But what he's doing is he's kind of like doing that, like a whole new world. Look, Shuri, look at what we have down here. And look at this beautiful nation of ours. And I want us to be partners. I don't want us to be enemies. But you have to understand what these imperialists have done to your people and to my people. Because, his people all lived underwater. But when they go to bury his mother and they see what the Spanish conquistadors, who we all know were not great to those in Central and South America and all the little island countries. And you see what they are doing to his people. And yeah, he sees that the surface world, there are people there who do not like them. And if they could take what he has, they will by any means necessary. So he needs to fight. So he's ready to take on the entire world, which is insane, and wants Wakanda's help. But Shuri doesn't want to take on the whole world, even though she did make that comment about watching the world burn, and he brings it back up, which I thought was very nice touch.
Which I thought that was a good way to bring it back up.
Yes, bring it all back around.
Remember, this is also where we get the origin of the name Namor. So apparently it was from the translation of, what is it? El Niño Sin Amor.
Yes.
And he's like, that's where I got my name.
No
I'm like,
more.
you got no more from, okay, whatever, dude.
Without love.
I would have been like, why don't you call yourself El Diablo, which is what the old dude was called.
Yeah, they did call El Diablo. It would have made more sense.
Wait, that's a Fantastic Four villain already, so we can't call you El Diablo. No. So, okay, you know what? I'll let that slide. And honestly, the way he looked and everybody else looked, I'll let a lot of things slide. I'm like, I'm cool with Namor looking like this. And all his people, instead of going at the Atlantis route, what I wish they had borrowed, and I told you this right after watching the movie, is I actually like the special effects in Aquaman when they were underwater. In here, it looks like they were CGing their mouths and they were doing bubbles, which you have to, right? People have to breathe, especially when they're talking underwater. And I'm like, I really like the idea of that sphere that they created in Aquaman. I'm like, you didn't have to borrow Atlantis, but maybe you could have borrowed some of that sphere. Would have been easier to film.
Would have been, because for the most part, he didn't. It wasn't until he gave that speech when they were rallying to go and fight Wakanda, because Nakia was able to save Shuri and Riri, but then she ended up killing a Talokan maiden in the process. So of course, Namor wants justice for that and to issue a warning to them, essentially. And I did love. A lot of people are like, why can't it be Atlantis? I understand. I understand why they chose not to make it Atlantis. I'm kind of glad. Aquaman came first. And even in the movies, I know we can debate back and forth as far as the comics, but in the movies, Jason Momoa is Aquaman, and he's in Atlantis, and that's very hard to separate that, right? And I think what I like about this is they're giving them a more realistic, like a culture that actually existed in our.
Are you saying Atlantis didn't exist?
Well, maybe the Atlantis from the Disney version, I bet that exists. But with Milo Thatch, yes, I love that movie. It's
No, I
under
like it too. I like it too. Even though it
yeah,
ripped off Nadia, Secret of Blue Water. I said it. All right, go ahead.
everything's like yes. Yeah, but no, what I liked about it is it's it's based off of a more realistic culture
Mhm.
in our history, just like Wakanda is based off of so many African countries and their cultures, right? So these two very different cultures, but they're based in realism, and there is a Aztec water god and all that stuff. So it all makes sense. It's
I
really
thought they
a
were. Weren't
cool
they
thing.
Mayan?
No,
Mhm.
Aztec.
Oh, they're
Aztec.
Aztec. Okay, my bad. My
Mhm.
bad.
But I was looking it up. There's an
Mayan.
Aztec water god
And
called
then my ancestors were Incan, so I get Mayans and Aztecs confused all the time.
yeah,
So
see, that's you're like there too.
I know about that basketball game they played. That's about all I
Yes,
remember. Uh,
yes.
so that's what starts this whole war. So Shuri, Nakia rescues her, shoots that one lady that he calls. What did he calls? He calls her daughter or something like that. Or young.
He did, but I thought he just did that because it was like that's what they would call
Right.
brother.
Wait, is it Mayan? Okay, they
When
are Mayan.
when I looked it up, I thought it wasn't. I thought when I looked it up, sources I said were they were basing it off of the Aztec and water god
Oh,
Tlaloc.
dude, the Aztecs borrowed from the Mayans, so I
Oh,
get it. Okay, so that's
okay,
why.
there we go. There we go.
All right, all
My
right. So Mayan,
my
got it.
sources were wrong where I looked it up to
I
get
can't wait to
where
see
they
them
were.
Incas come out, though. We're gonna replace the Inhumans. That's how you get the Inhumans. We're gonna be a bunch of Incas. They've been living in Machu Picchu, coming out.
That'd be one way to do it.
Boy, I pissed my buddy Gio off.
Is there
Uh,
any is there anywhere we haven't really touched upon yet? In the
so
MCU?
this is what start. This is what got me excited. I'm like, oh man, we're gonna get this big war. They're gonna go and fight Wakanda, and in a way, we kind of did, but I wish it had been bigger because
Yes.
when Namor brings his people to Wakanda and they start the attack, we do see some flooding, right? We do see some people get hurt. We see a major character die, which I didn't see coming, honestly,
I
especially
did not
after
see that coming.
losing T'Challa at the beginning of this movie, and now you kill off Ramonda. What?
Very
And,
much a Peter Parker has no one left kind of vibe.
she was saving Riri Williams, so man, she
Use those
drowned.
arms. I was like, man, look at her swim. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ramonda. She's beautiful. Yeah, so we do lose Ramonda in this scene, which was very unexpected, and we get to see the destruction that Namor and his people can wrought, and that was just a fraction of their people, I guess. So
Yeah,
he
because he
can
said,
even,
"I've got more people."
and I do love when M'Baku went underwater and he saw the big orca. He's like, "Whoa!" And again, I was like, "Yeah, that's how I would be too." I love me some orcas. I'm so glad that's the fish or whale they chose to use.
I
For
I love that guy, and I wish he had been in this more. I feel like they didn't know exactly what to do with that character.
yeah,
He did add comic relief,
but he
but
also
not
added
because he said quippy lines, but just because of his character.
the
It's
way
the
he
character
is.
that he was in the first movie.
Yeah.
I loved him.
And he
Yeah.
did, but I did like his element of where he became a mentor to Shuri in the film. And as
Mhm.
the film progressed, particularly after her mother dies, right? And he becomes a person she can look to because she sees him as a leader, right? Not the elders, they're whatever, but Umbaku is a leader. She's seen that in him, and particularly how he helped her and her mother after what happened with Killmonger. She sees that he is someone that she can trust. And the way he mentors her and wants her to do the right thing. But again, she is driven by revenge. And we're seeing this as a story that's being played out in a number of MCU films as of late, where you're dealing with you losing someone, wanting revenge and vengeance. And what does that look like? And is that the right thing to do? And that's what she's now dealing with after the death of her mother. She's lost her brother, and then at the hands of Namor, her mother, she wanted to help him. She wanted to work with him. And he, of course, is also fueled by vengeance and revenge. So there's a common theme between the two of them. And so when she realizes, in the story that he tells her when she's down there with him, he gives her a bracelet that has elements or fibers of the plant they had in where they're from that turned them into what they are now, the Talokan. And so she ends up, extracting that, and then is able to make another purple heart-shaped herb out of it with that awesome 3D printer that she has. And Nakia's there, Riri's with her. She crushes it up and she takes it, and she's hoping to see her mother. And this is what I was not expecting. I was like, who's she going to see when she goes into the spiritual realm? And she sees Killmonger. I thought that was great.
Awesome.
I was like, oh, I was so excited to see Michael B. Jordan. I was like, oh gosh. But that makes sense because right now her mind is fueled with revenge. Okay.
They did know the concept of Zero. You're absolutely right.
Right.
That was really cool because it's Michael B. Jordan. It's a character. It was one of those rumors where like they're going to bring Killmonger back. He's going to be the new Black Panther. That's the way to do it. Because we really didn't know. This was a really difficult movie to put together. I can't imagine the task of not just losing your lead, but also losing your friend that helped you make the first one and became friends. And man,
yeah.
So yeah, she comes back and she's like, it didn't work. I saw Killmonger. She didn't say who she saw, which was a nice touch because that's what you do, right? It's like, I'm like, oh, what does that mean, dude? And when she punches the doll or mannequin or whatever it is that's holding they're like, oh. And then of course Riri Williams delivers the one joke. Oh, can I get some of that? But I thought it was really cool that she was using Killmonger's colors on her Black Panther costume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got that.
That was
where's
cool.
the hit shot?
Cool.
Yeah, where is that? There it is.
So she, I think that was one of the hardest things for me to swallow is like Shuri in the comics is a lot different than Shuri in the movie. Shuri in the comics is a warrior. She's not one of these characters that's kind of like your behind the scenes Oracle Data type of character.
Yes.
Whereas Shuri in the movies she's the jokey character that stayed behind the scenes. So they had to change her characters up a lot. So seeing her in the costume, it took me a while to get used to. Like seeing her lead her people, saying Wakanda Forever. I don't know if that I think it definitely I need another rewatch to see because I think that's the one part. The third act I think is what didn't really click with me that well. And I feel like by that point there were a lot of things that I feel they should have wrapped up or they went and just kind of just thinned themselves out with all these characters and all these stories they're wanting to tell.
Yeah.
And it just I don't know. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. So the third act is the big fight. But the big fight is pretty interesting because the big fight doesn't take place in Wakanda nor in underwater. It takes place in this
on a massive boat,
submarine boat thing. And I like the idea. I like they're like, okay, we're gonna dry his ass out. That's how we're gonna beat him.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah,
because he's a mutant and he needs water in order to become that invulnerable character.
Which he is, yeah.
That was cool. And then Okoye shows up and she's like, how many of them midnight suits you got? Midnight Angel suits. So the Midnight Angel suits look right out of the comic book.
It literally did. It was really cool to see them in action too.
Action, sometimes they look like Power Rangers CG though, or just the shots in slow motion. And then Riri Williams upgraded her Ironheart armor to a more traditional Iron Man colors.
Yes. But yeah, it'll probably look a little different.
Neutral territory, which I think that's what they ended up calling it, right? Like
it was neutral territory. It was not in either one of their kingdoms, so it was a neutral territory. I don't know why they would chose the sea when they still have the. I feel like the Talokan still have the advantage, especially when they have their whales in there helping them fight. I mean, they still have
those whales, man, dude. If all you got is whales, have you seen Wakanda? Wakanda's got flying ships that can turn invisible.
But they were still.
And we don't know. None of the people can talk to fish like Aquaman.
Oh, we don't know that.
Just saying.
So
the fight.
Yeah, we have a big fight.
We have a big fight between the Wakandans and the. I'm sorry, Lakitu.
Talokan.
Close enough.
Talokan.
And we have a big fight between Black Panther and Neymar. the new Black Panther, who drives him out to weaken him in a very smart way,
Man,
and
yes,
takes him out to the desert to go in with the intent of killing him. And it was
yes,
cool. That was cool. Like the fight sequences were cool. He's all weakened because we know the dude's a beast. We know he's strong.
yeah.
I mean,
But
even in the
still,
comics, Namor was strong. He's the guy that took Tony Stark underwater and ripped his mask out, and you just can't rip Iron Man's mask off. You got to be hella strong to get that off. But in the
exactly.
movies, apparently because he said he's when he punches. No, it was Atuma punched M'Baku. That was an awesome scene because he just goes right through his armor. He was like, "What?"
Breaks his armor.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah. No, the fight scene between Black Panther and Namor was vicious. It was very full. I mean, you saw her panther claws. I mean, he even stuck her straight through with a spear, like straight through, and she cut it off and was ready to fight. And meanwhile, the Wakandans are losing on their boat, and Black Panther's they're waiting for her signal, but she's still fighting Namor, and they're closing in because they still took the battle to their turf, even if it's neutral territory, it's still the water.
I wonder if Shuri gets these abilities, like these enhanced abilities from the suit itself and the plant, because she was able to fight and keep her own with a guy that has been training pretty much his entire life for some reason, because even though they don't come out the water, why are they training anyway? So I thought that was pretty interesting that she just was able to hold her own, even though I get it. It's a superhero movie and you're not going to show everything, like her training montage with M'Baku.
I'm sure she's trained with TChalla, and because you have to have that suspension of there must be some level, because she does have her guns where she does fight in some scenarios. I think wasn't she in the final battle in Endgame? Remind me, wasn't she there with her little?
Yeah, she showed up with Okoye. She showed up with
so she still showed up. So she still has some battle experience. It's not like she's coming in fresh, never really battled before. Yes, we have to just suspend her disbelief, I think. But she does rip off his wings or some of them.
I like that because
that was rough.
That happens in the comics so often that thing can just grow back. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, at one point I'm like, where's this gonna go? Because I mean, this can go dark territory if it is really Killmonger, and I kind of dig that. But no, at the end, she does see something. She sees her mom. She sees the Real Housewives of What's up, J-Man? How you doing, brother? I'd watch that. It's got Lupita in it. I'd watch that. Yeah, she sees her mom. I thought that was good because there was a chance, right? We were all thinking the same thing.
Yeah, how is this going to end?
Is Chadwick gonna show up in this? Like,
I thought so too.
You know, I'm sorry. I always go back to Rocky 5. Get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you. Like, that's the thing that I always go back to, no matter what movie where somebody needs a pep talk to get up and fight. But yeah, in this, it was her, and I like that. The line was just like, show them who you are. Like, I like that. That was nice.
And then she asked him to yield and go back. She said, "We'll keep your secret. No one knows about you. We'll keep your secret if you yield." And he does. He does yield. Now, his people don't like it. Namor is not happy about it, but he's like, nope, they owe us now. And when the time comes,
yeah, we don't exactly know what that means yet. He's like, look, they're gonna need us because people are gonna know about Wakanda.
Yeah, people will start
getting our Lord of the Rings endings, multiple endings, which is okay. I was good with the endings.
This is definitely a Return of the King.
Very, very Return of the King. We had the wrap up with Riri Williams getting her dad's car back. So I'm sure we'll learn more about her dad and what happened to him. Maybe he has connections to Tony Stark. Who knows? Maybe he has connections to the one and only. She's not here. Where's my key? It's the only GIF I asked for.
I never delete it. It's not me, I promise. But lucky for you, buddy.
I'll just use this one.
Lucky for you, I have it saved on my computer.
You're on top of it.
Upload. I should have realized. Speaking of which, we just talked about I'm buying this because I love those orcas.
Were you a fan of like the Free Willy movie?
I was, but I also was
I
a fan
saw
of the
it.
Blackfish documentary as well. I
Oh,
don't believe they should be
why
in
would you buy
captivity.
that then? To remind you of how horrible they're
Well, they were
treated?
free in the ocean with Neymar. It was like they were free. It was like
They
they're
weren't free. They were carrying a bunch of Mayans with them.
yes, but they were into the ocean, hanging
They
out
like
in
they
like
were
a
living in
vast
harmony.
underwater kingdom and not in a tiny.
All
Anyways,
right.
we're not
Sorry.
going to talk about the
So
ethics of Talokan. We're not talking about that.
not about that.
Yeah.
So we
Anyways,
got
so yeah,
look. Spencer said he's got that pop pre-order.
yeah, that's what I want. Spencer is so awesome.
So then
No,
we get the multiple endings. We get Riri Williams wrapping up. She's like, "You can't take this back to Chicago." And
so she got to
see
build a new
Riri's like,
suit.
"So what? I got my own series coming. I'll build my
Yeah,
own
I
suit.
don't need
I don't need
vibranium.
vibranium.
I'll build a suit without it. I mean, I'm
I'm gonna go
assuming
find
Tony Stark did.
adamantium, baby. I'm gonna go find adamantium because apparently I can use it now because
Yep.
we bought Fox, baby." So then, or they bought the X-Men back. So they wrap up that story. We wrap up the story with Everett getting arrested. Like I said, not needed unless it's going to be used in something else.
Yeah,
Like,
we really talked about that whole thing. It was all the scenes, while they're cute together, it did kind of lead the plot astray because did we really need to show what America's doing to try to get into Wakanda? No, not really.
I didn't see it needed that, but like everybody was stating earlier, probably why they forced them to use it to build the Thunderbolts or whatever.
Yeah. I'm just glad we didn't see him or her on a Peloton bike at some point because she made the joke about going to borrow his Peloton. I'm just glad that never happened.
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I caught that. We wrap up that story. We wrap up the story with the rest of Wakanda, with M'Baku coming out the ship, and he's like, "Hey,
Black
I'm
Panther
king
got
now.
here.
I'm king now."
Yes. Which I'm so happy about. It makes me so happy that M'Baku's king because Shuri's not ready to be queen, but she is because let me think about it. T'Challa was Black Panther before his father died and became he became king. So
Yeah,
there's
and even in the comics lore, the Black Panther can leave Wakanda, and that's kind of what
she
makes
does. Yeah.
Wakanda divided. People don't accept him as king because he's hanging out with the Avengers, or she will be hanging out with the Young Avengers or Avengers. I don't know.
Yep.
So yeah, and that wraps up that storyline with Wakanda and M'Baku. And then we get our fourth ending with her finally taking her
trip to Haiti.
funeral clothes, and she's going to Haiti and burning them and seeing images of Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Which I thought
Yeah.
were really beautiful, because they did have a good, strong connection in the first movie. And credits. And then, of course, we get the mid-credit scene, which I thought was a weird mid-credit scene because
it was
that
just more
should have
movie.
been where it ended instead of a mid-credit scene.
Yes.
But I didn't write the movie, nor did I edit it. And that is where we learn why Nakia
stayed away so long.
Yeah. And Nakia had stayed away because she had a kid. She had a little boy. With King T'Challa.
And his name is also T'Challa. So they did replace T'Challa, just not in the way we all thought they would do, which is just recasting another actor of the same age. This child will eventually probably grow up. And given that we have multiverse stuff coming, we have Secret Wars, all that stuff, we will probably see him sooner rather than later somehow just age up really fast. And we'll get another Black Panther.
When little dude said, "My name is T'Challa," I was like, "What?"
Yeah. So that was I like the mid-credit scene because it did show us, all right, this is what they're going to do with Legacy. I like that. And yeah, it leaves us open to see more of, Wakanda now. And if this child grows up and what that means for him and the rest of Wakanda. And yeah, so, and I'm kind of glad it wasn't like a teaser for Ant-Man or a teaser for, I don't know, any other Marvel property that's coming down the pike. I was kind of glad that it just stayed within the realm of the movie itself, which is very similar to other movies that we've, seen that end phases, right? They may not have end credit scenes that dive into a tease for the next movie or the next, big thing that's going to happen. So I was okay with it overall.
Hmm.
But
What well, let's talk about the things that let's talk about the negative things. So we've talked a lot about the movies, things that we enjoyed and gave it
yeah.
praises. What things didn't really click with you?
The major thing I had an issue with, I think, is just some of the pacing, which, you said the third act wasn't your favorite. And I think the third
Mhm.
act was drawn out a little long for my taste, and it probably could have been tightened up. I think if, like you said, if they did take out that subplot, or if they had trimmed it down, the subplot with Valentina and Everett, then I
I think
think,
one scene would have been good enough for me.
yeah, I think so too. It would have been fine instead of multiple scenes of him trying to connect with them. And they were using him as a way to try to, I guess, get information, but I don't think they really needed Everett Ross to do that because we're talking about Wakanda. So I think all that just kind of slowed the plot down for me. So that's be my biggest complaint for the movie itself. Other than that, yeah, that's my biggest complaint is that pacing. Yeah.
I had, a few things. I think there were some unneeded characters in this movie that slowed things down, and you said exactly who I thought needed to be cut. Riri Williams, while she was cute and likable, at least to me, I could have done without her. Didn't really need her in the movie.
Yeah.
If we're focusing on Wakanda, there were a couple of things that kind of bothered me though, like about the funeral of
Okay. Chadwick.
yeah, where
T'Challa.
were like the Avengers? Where were any of those characters that he fought along? Like I always, we're in Wakanda, and I get it, but and I realized that it also contracts and scheduling, of course. But I just
Yeah.
thought like, oh, that would have been nice to tie it into like he was a hero that fought alongside the Avengers,
Yeah.
and just I don't know. It's just it was a really weird thing. That just kind of stuck out to me, but nothing, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Um,
What are you thinking that, given the time frame when this takes place, we see a lot of these characters not really working together as much after the blip. They're kind of all, and I keep, I have to go back to, well, just scheduling conflicts, right? They all just can't show up because maybe the Falcon and Winter
right,
Soldier
they got other commitments
busy,
and stuff.
fighting that uh those bad guys that they were fighting in the movie. I don't know, or the
Mhm.
TV series. So that's what I would, yeah. But I can see where you come from with that one.
And like I said, it's not like a it's not a deal breaker or anything. It's just a small little thing. I was just curious, like how they're gonna fit into it. Because if we are to believe that this is taking place in the entirety of the Marvel universe, when Tony Stark died, everyone was there. Granted, he saved his
Save
life,
the
and
universe, I
T'Challa
guess.
died in a well, I don't want to say non-heroic way, but in a non-traditional superhero way of
In a
dying.
way. That's not usually, yeah.
Yeah. So it was tough. It was tough to do this. I don't know how it could have been different and made it better, because I think, okay, if we're gonna go the route of Ryan Coogler and honoring, his friend Chadwick Boseman, and we're not gonna recast T'Challa,
Yeah.
then you're left with very limited things you can
Options.
do. You can only do so much. Who's gonna become Black Panther? There were only a few characters introduced in the first movie. Mane, oh, I'm sorry, M'Baku. Like, it just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. So I thought if we're gonna honor that, then I guess they handled it the best way possible. Because even in the comics, Shuri does become Black Panther during what's his name's Reggie Hudlin's run. Um,
Yeah.
some of the CG felt a little too green screen. Some of them.
Oh, yeah, you said there was, like, a scene that where they were just all staying in line. You said they were just standing on a green screen at that point.
Oh yeah, yeah, backgrounds.
M'Baku,
Some
yeah,
of the backgrounds
exactly.
were great though. So like the pyramid and
Yeah.
The Mayan pyramid, I thought that was really cool. But then some of the backgrounds look really, really CG'd, or at least green screened in. Some of the fighting sequences, because of the slow motion, look really Power Ranger-ish, Sentai-ish. and nothing wrong with that if you dig it, but it just kind of stood out in this movie. Um,
Yeah, it was very
yeah, and
different
I
from
wanted more from Namor's people. I wanted a little more. I didn't want a deep exploration or a deep history or origin. I just wanted to see more. I wanted to see a threat. I wanted to see holy crap. Because you remember whenever we saw the ship go into Wakanda for the first time, we were just like, holy
blown away.
crap,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This looks great. Like there's this little nation that exists in the continent of Africa, and it's just
Mhm.
amazing. I was blown away. Whereas Namor's, it's like because of things like Avatar, because of things like Aquaman, I was hoping the MCU would be like, let's make something really unique. But I mean, even with the Mayan things, I thought they would I thought they would add something special, but it didn't. So that was a little disappointing to me. Really quick, there's a super chat here from Bert. Thank you so much, sir. The prologue
Word.
was very emotional, heavy, especially the coffin being beamed up. Felt true grief, especially from Shuri. Might not
Yeah.
rewatch due to how sad the movie was. It was, I mean, like I said, it was hard.
To rewatch, yeah.
It's hard to separate when the actor and the character are separated from the grief. That was
Exactly.
that was really pretty. Or that was really well done. So yeah, I mean that's I thought the music was on point. I thought
Yeah,
the
Ludwig does a
acting was
great
great.
job. Yeah.
Um, for what they did with Namor, sure. This is the MCU of Namor. If I want to go back and read comic book Namor, I'll open up my comics to read comic book Namor. Just like
Exactly.
I've been opening up my comics to read comic book Wolverine, because Hugh Jackman looked nothing like my Wolverine. So, um, but that's it. I mean, that was my only gripes. Everything else I really enjoyed about the movie. Thought it was
Yes,
a
I
real
agree.
I thought it was a really good movie. It's one of the strongest MCU Phase 4 movies in my opinion, which
Yeah.
I guess really is not saying a lot because we've had a lot of weak ones. We've had a lot of weak shows lately.
Except for No Way
Um,
Home.
except for No Way Home. So, now comes the part where everybody that has watched it and I'm sorry. Anything else, Amanda, that you wanted to add about the movie?
No, I mean, you said it all. I I really enjoyed this film. And while there were those, like I said, the pacing, because it was like a 2 hour and 40-minute movie. It could have
Mhm.
been cut down. It really could have been trimmed. And we still could have had the same effect that we wanted to have, or that I think Ryan Coogler wanted to have in the film itself. I loved how they switched up Namor's character origins. I think that really worked for this film, particularly with how he was interacting with Wakanda. It made a lot of sense.
Mhm.
So and put it really into the more real world. So I liked that a lot. I thought Shuri was fantastic. The rest of the actors were great as well. And I'm interested to see if they're going to do another Black Panther movie now, or if I don't know what they're going to do now moving forward. It's going to be interesting, but I think they honored Chadwick the best way they could in the whole
I
movie.
will say I was curious
His
about that.
presence was
Yeah.
felt in the whole thing to me anyway, even if he wasn't in it.
I'll be honest, I was curious about that too. Like, this feels like a closure to not a trilogy, but
Yeah.
whatever. What's 2 movies? Not a trilogy. What is 2 movies?
Equal. It's just a duology.
A
A
duology?
duology. I think
Good.
it's like a thing of 2 books.
Give me
Yeah.
more. Give me one more. Give me more M'Baku, baby. Bring back
Yeah.
Killmonger. Um. All right, Panda. Ladies first.
Sure.
Out of 10,
Out of
what would you give
10,
that movie?
I think for me,
Sorry, I didn't get that.
sorry, Siri's talking to
Hey,
me.
Siri, ain't nobody talking to you.
Siri, shut up, Siri. No, it really be funny if she replied just now. I think a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, the pacing really just was a little much for me. But other than that, everything else was very strong. So it's a solid 7.5 out of 10.
7.5. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought you would rate it higher. 8. 8. Solid 8. It was good. I'll watch it again. Didn't really have any big issues with it. I mean, had some minor issues. I wish they had changed. Some editing would have helped. But then again, a lot of movies could use some editing these days.
Yeah.
From the chat, let's see what we've got here tonight. Going back to the beginning here. Omar wanted Triangle Head. I did not want Triangle Head Namor. I'm okay with the changes they made with Namor. Though he's not as suave as I thought he should be if he is going to be hitting on Sue Storm, but who knows?
Yeah,
He
I
may
don't
not
see
even
I
be
don't
doing that.
see this Namor hitting on Sue Storm, but I really did want that. I don't know why, but their relationship really gets me.
8.5, maybe a 10. 9
Nice
out of 10.
Jack.
5.5 above mid. Namor carried, but want to see how he would look beardless. He had a beard. He had like a goatee, man.
He had facial hairs,
Namor
but
to
I just
save in the next movie. 9 out of
solid
10.
movie.
Solid movie. Some minor things, but nothing big. 9 out of 10. What? I had no idea the length of the movie. Felt like it was an hour and a half in the theater. That's a good feeling. 9.5. James really liked it. 8.5. I need to watch it again. 7.5. Thick Nakia. Thighs out. My dude, right? I'll bow down to her. She could be my queen. Anyway, I loved it. 9. Not as great as the first one, but I thought it was still a great movie. Yes. I cried. It's hard not to. 8.5.
Yeah, it's hard.
Let's see here. Solo M'Baku movie. I'd watch a Solo M'Baku series. 8 out of 10.
M'Baku and Okoye. I don't know if that's still a thing that's happening, but
I love this rating. I didn't see it, but my friends did, but they thought the movie's a little underwhelmed or not on par with the first movie. One of my friends, it was a 6 out of 10. So this is
thank you, Classy Ulysses, for giving us that.
that is an honest answer. 8 out of 10. I think I liked it more than I should because of the mediocre past. Oh, no, that is a good point, though.
Yeah. I mean, like I said in the beginning, it was refreshing after seeing Love and Thunder because that movie I was just so disappointed by. And I loved the tone of this film and I liked, what they did with it. And that movie, yeah. I expected way more out of Thor Love and Thunder and I did not get my expectations met at all.
Luke Evans could have been a perfect orb and nobody. Is he a country singer?
No. Luke Bryan is a country singer. Luke Evans is Gaston in the live action Beauty and the Beast. He's been in he was in
The Hobbit. He's the bard, right?
Yeah, he's the bard. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why the first time it was.
Why'd you go with Gaston? I haven't seen Disney live action Disney movies unless you
don't belong in a Disney movie, so I thought, yeah.
9 out of 10.
I agree.
Namor was a good villain. Was he really a villain, or was he more of a? I think that's what this movie needed, was a villain. Let's wipe out Wakanda, which is what I wanted to feel. Because I just
want a villain that's not like, oh, I see your point of view. Because even with Killmonger, I see your point of view. Actually, Killmonger, you bring up some really good points.
Ryan Coogler does a really good job with those villains.
I mean, Thanos. We kind of see maybe that we could use like half the population could go away.
That's why Kang just to come in and wipe the floor with everybody.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 for my buddy Riv Wilson.
Nice, Riv.
Really liked it. Love and Thunder should burn. Hey, some people here like Love and Thunder. Not me, nor Amanda, but some people here like Love and Thunder. 9.5 out of 10.
Oh,
Angela Bassett killed it. Oh my goodness, she did. She did.
Yeah,
so great.
So great.
Love Wakanda Forever, 8 out of 10, but Love and Thunder was a solid. See what I mean? Some people love Love and Thunder. Like it. And I still love Roy. He's entitled to his opinion. Love and Thunder, 8 out of 10. Wait, are we rating Love and Thunder? Luke Bryan and Neymar. Is he a country singer? Who is the country singer? I can't remember.
Yes. It's Luke Bryan is a country singer. Someone else said Luke Combs, another country singer. There's a lot of country singers.
What about Luke Perry? Rest in peace. I forgot Luke Perry died. How did we lose Luke Perry? What happened, man?
Omar's watching his childhood slowly drift away.
It sucks, man.
And it's not. And it's like to things like cancer or like it's just to things that
he died of a heart attack. Luke freaking Perry, man. Like that dude. What did I see him in? Oh, he was in the last thing I saw him in was in the Tarantino movie. With Leonardo DiCaprio. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Solid in that. That's a good movie. What's up, Omnibo? It's gonna go see it tonight. Dude, I loved it. Yeah, man. I talked about Kevin Conroy earlier. That hurt. That one hurt.
Exactly.
But isn't that what Namor is? Is he a villain? Is he a hero?
He does bounce back and forth. So that's the whole purpose of his character.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
guys like Kane the Conqueror in Ant-Man will be a really good true villain.
I hope
Fingers
so.
crossed.
I'm ready for some villain, ass kicking villain.
Villainry, but not like he turns into a red demon villain at the end that we just have to kill off
You talking
like a
about Black
generic
Adam?
or
Different
any
universe.
movie where that happens.
Different universe. Want to burn Love and Thunder from my memory? I think there is gonna come a time when we're gonna go and watch Love and Thunder again for was it really
We
that bad?
will. We have to give ourselves some time away from it first.
Yeah.
It's
Separate.
not
I mean, we can go back to it and there could be some beauty to it. My biggest gripe about the movie experience was the sacrilege Led Zeppelin "Whole Lot of
did I
Love" cover
did I
from
miss
Dungeons
we
and
didn't have the
Dragons
Dungeons and Dragons
trailer.
trailer?
I was
We
gonna
didn't have
say
that.
from the soundtrack of this movie, everything worked. Even the weird remix of Marvin Gaye with what's the other song they blended together in the trailer? And
Nova
I
No
actually
Doubt.
like Rihanna's new song. I thought it
Yeah, my
was
husband's
pretty
listening to the soundtrack on repeat since we left the theater yesterday.
good. It was good. I like the
Yeah.
soundtrack a lot. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy, indeed, my buddy. M&M for Wolverines. What aren't you the Machine Gun Kelly guy?
Yeah,
You're
Jack,
Machine Gun
which is
Kelly.
I mean, if you're back on Eminem's side, good for you because he is the GOAT and he deserves that.
Jack,
Into the Rock and Roll Hall of
go
Fame.
and find Leo because I miss the days when you and Leo would pick a fight with each other. The Submariner, amphibious demon of the earth, bent on an inspired campaign against the white man, mainly American, who was all but obliterated his South Antarctic race from his second appearance. That you're talking about the Bill Everett Golden Age stuff? That I think that is right. Then of course they retconned a bunch of stuff. Riverdale episode in Luke Perry's memory is a tearjerker. Whether you enjoy, I've seen a couple of episodes of Riverdale. Wasn't for me, but yeah, I was a 90210 kid, man. Beverly Hills 90210, my brother.
Me too. Yeah,
Were you?
Riverdale. Oh yeah, well, I was a little young,
90210?
but I watched it for Brenda and I liked not Brian Austin Green. Who was the guy who what was Brenda's brother's name? Brandon.
Brandon.
Oh man, I had a crush
Jason
on Brandon.
Priestley.
Jason Priestley, yes.
She
Man,
had a crush on Brandon, which made those scenes really weird, but because they're brother and
yeah,
sister.
that was really weird. Yeah. Mhm.
Chadwick Boseman was my age, born in 76.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, man. No amount of time will help. Love and Thunder, Omar. We'll see. Thor received no love from Marvel. What? You mean like an omnibus format, my brother, or you mean like in
the
movies?
movies.
Movies.
I mean, it was unceremoniously like taken out of theaters and dropped onto Disney Plus. I mean, it was
Thor's got 4 movies. Doom coming. Dude, who was I was expecting Doom. I was expecting Doom in this movie. I was expecting
a lot of people. There was like those spoilers just saying that one of the end credits was going to be Doom, and he was the one who ordered.
Unless we missed it because we did leave because Amanda said I looked it up. There's nothing else. They could have added it. Oh, I'd have strangled you. I'd have strangled you if we missed it.
I would not have let us stray on that one. I hope, but I don't know.
Kevin Hart as Charles in charge.
Xavier?
Charles Xavier.
I feel like Kevin Hart's one person who whacks one kind of way, and it would be one.
I mean, he could go.
I love Kevin Hart though, so don't say it. I love Kevin Hart though.
He could go the route of like people like Bill Murray, right? Like people that were funny, comedian. I'm not allowed to talk about Bill Murray. I don't even know these days anymore.
Yeah, I think you can a little bit.
Okay, so like Bill Murray was a comedian, SNL, and then had a career in comedy, and then he started doing some serious roles, which is the route that Chevy Chase should have gone, but he just pissed off so many people in Hollywood that started to work with. More like Love and Slumber. You guys are hating on
how do we get like our whole stream?
Jack, why are you making people feel old? 902, and I know 90210 was revamped, so don't you lie to me, Jack. 10 years, not even that long ago, 7 years ago, they revamped it with the original cast. Gore, the off-screen God Butcher, dude. I know.
Oh that was God. What I was disappointed in. Yeah, why did he not kill more gods on screen? That's the God City should have been a massacre. It would have been great, but we missed that opportunity. What can you do?
Let's see. Yep, that was from Bill Everett stuff. Swap South Antarctic with South America, and his motivations are very comic
Mhm.
accurate.
There we go.
It's okay that you're old, Omar. Thanks, man. Better to get old than the alternative. You can't put Doom in this movie. Good decision not to. This is about
Yes.
Wakanda and coping with the loss of the king. Glad Coogler let it stand on its own. I really thought that was going to be the mandated like MCU thing. Okay, we got to put a Fantastic Four thing in here. We got to put
Yeah.
some kind of tie-in. But instead, I guess the tie-in is Everett Ross and Valentina, which whatever. Christian Bell couldn't even save Love and Thunder. Hey, people, like I said, people still love Love and Thunder. My buddy Roy here loves Love and Thunder. On TV news, Omar, are you going to watch Transformers Earthspark Season 1 came out today? Yes, I am. My little girl, my oldest daughter, Lydia, told me
That's
that
cool.
there is a new season in the entire season. She's like, I don't normally binge watch stuff, Poppy, but we can binge watch it. And I'm like, oh my God, you don't understand how much I've been waiting to hear those words in this house. Because my wife, her definition of binge watching is 2 episodes a day. 3 if I'm lucky.
Yeah, we're about to finish White Lotus because we've been binging that. So
learn my lesson with my sister. Yeah. Yo, man,
yeah.
what did I
That's
see?
one thing with Ant-Man. I'm gonna assume that the actor who played Chidi in A Good Place is not Mr. Fantastic, and that we're not gonna see Mr. Fantastic in some end credit scene in Ant-Man Quantumanium. I'm just assuming that's gonna happen.
I don't know. I know nothing about that movie except that I saw some rings, like the 10 rings, maybe.
10 rings and some Marvel, Ms. Marvel bands.
What do you think of the possibility of Giancarlo Esposito as Professor X? I'd love to see him play a good guy after playing such a great villain in Breaking Bad Mandalorian. I liked him in I was a fan of this dude in Homicide, Life on the Street, and he just kind of blew up after Breaking Bad. He was everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. He's just here's my thing, Matt, and I'm like this with X-Men. X-Men are very near and dear to my heart. I don't want anybody famous or even semi-famous casted. Give me somebody brand new that was doing some plays, like some Shakespeare in the Park plays, that's a good actor. Like, find somebody like that. Shut up, Amanda. They exist. Okay. And you get them a 15-year movie deal. That's what I want. That's what I want. I want some unknown names. I don't want I don't want no Daniel Radcliffe. Who's that dude that you like?
Daniel Radcliffe said he's not like he doesn't want to do anything like that. I mean, he says it, that doesn't mean he won't do it.
Oh, he's too good for he did Harry Potter, but he's too good for.
Well, I think because of Harry Potter, he doesn't want to do anything like that again.
All right, whatever.
Hey, watch Weird Al and tell me if he's.
I haven't seen Weird Al, but I did like Swiss Army Man with him in it. He was really good as that. Daniel Radcliffe as Storm. Stop it. Just give me somebody new that can act really well. First of all,
or who doesn't have like a lot of credits to their name.
The problem with casting somebody like him is it's going to cost you more. Save that money for the CG. Make me believe there's a Dark Phoenix out there and a dude can actually float in his chair. Show me some practical effects, because we've seen movies this year that have used practical effects that have blown people's minds. Like, I was watching Terrifier in the movie theaters, Terrifier 2 with my brother, and I'm like, what's the big hype about this movie? This is the same kind of shit we saw in the 80s. Are people forgetting that there were practical effects in the 80s and we were fooled into believing that people were actually getting their bones snapped and stuff? So apparently, practical effects have just kind of gone away, except for, I guess, things like Star Wars. But in horror movies, we didn't see it that often these days. That's what it was. I'm on a tangent. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Danny DeVito as Wolverine. All right. I can see that.
Wanted a long time ago.
Wakanda Forever and WandaVision were both about dealing with grief. My personal favorite film and show, A Face For, were about grief. I like that, Bert, because I thought that that speech in WandaVision was really well done.
What's not grief if not love persevering?
Yeah, what a beautiful way of putting it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
Vision. Good old
and
vision.
You're absolutely right. So, all in the game, here's what we do. We go ahead and start the special effects right now because we know X-Men are coming. And then we'll just CG the actors in whenever the special, because they've had what, 2 or 3 years working on X-Men. Make me believe that a man can float in his chair. I gotta agree, new fresh actors. I get nervous when stars or characters like I wonder how long. Right, Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross? No, give me an old crazy dude out of a freaking home. That's what I want is Thunderbolt Ross.
I don't want that either. I just want someone in the middle. Okay, just get someone in the middle.
All right, fine, somebody in the. What about the dude that was in freaking Avatar? That guy would have killed it as Thunderbolt Ross. He's actually
he is like he would. He always
is
plays
Thunderbolt Ross. What is that
actor's
name? He's
Oh,
great.
I
I love
don't know.
that dude. What is his
He
name?
won't be in the next Avatar because he died.
No, he died. They can bring him back.
Spoilers. No, why would they bring him back with the tree? No.
Yeah.
She said no. Their God's not bringing him back.
Oh, Craig, don't open that door.
Don't open that can.
Don't open that door, Craig Ryan. Has Marvel Studios ever failed us in casting?
Marvel Studios or Disney or
Stephen Lang. Thank you. Oh, you know Stephen Lang, Jack Pierre, but you don't know 90210. Get out of here, man. Wait. Dude, that's all Stephen Lang is coming back. Are you lying to me, John?
Really? Because I'm going to die.
That dude kills it. I love that actor. That guy, you cast that guy as Thunderbolt Ross. You don't need Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's already been casted as some of the greatest characters ever.
He has. He's killed them all off too.
And Indiana Jones. That's all you need.
Yeah. He's set for life. And he just,
Give that role to Stephen Lang. Because he wanted to be Cable. And I would have been good with that casting too. Stephen Lang would be a good Vince McMahon. Yeah, I actually like Avatar. I'm one of the few. I can't be one of the few people who's one of the top grossing movies of all time.
Yeah, December 16th. Like yeah, I'm interested to see it. I want to see what it looks like, how it shapes out.
Was that one U.S. government dude in the scene with Val a dude who appeared in Falcon and Winter Soldier? I don't know.
Are you talking about Toby from West Wing or because that's all I know. That's what I've got. And he's Toby from West Wing. Was he in Falcon Winter Soldier? I don't remember.
And see, Jack, just like that.
Jack, come on, Jack,
just like that, Jack. I remember watching Avatar in IMAX when I was like, just like that.
5 years old.
Just like that. You just broke my heart. Like, I'm old.
You broke my heart.
I'm old. Triple H.
I was like a year out from graduating from college when Avatar came out. Right? It was 2009, right?
I was in middle school when Avatar came out. So.
Yeah, what the heck? You were married already with a kid on the way.
Hey, man. Giving away my real identity. I'm excited for Way of Water and John Wick 4. Me too, brother.
Yeah, did you see the trailer for John Wick 4?
Of course I did.
I didn't know Bill Skarsgård was in it. And Donnie Yen, is that his name? Yeah.
Yes, he's in it too. Yes, I love John Wick. Those movies are awesome. Love them. Avatar, last 30 minutes is epic, but the first 2 hours is boring. But dude, I mean, the same thing can be said about a lot of like not John Williams. I'm sorry.
James Cameron films.
James Cameron films. You know, like
Titanic was kind of boring in the middle, but boy, that ending.
Right. Who didn't cry? Who still cries with Our Love? What's the name of that song?
My heart will go on.
Yeah. Come on, man. Who doesn't cry when that song comes on? 1997. Do you know how many girls I took on dates to see that movie? That means I spent at least 24 hours of my life.
Yeah, and you got an intermission because of how long the movie was at the time.
You did get an intermission. Yeah.
And you had to have 2 VHSs to watch the movie.
We did. Now I'm aging myself. I was in elementary school when that movie came out. I was in elementary school. Ballerina series going to have Anna. Oh, I heard about this too. Yeah, that they're spinning it off with what's his name? Ian McShane, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. I love Anna de Armas.
I cried because the band kept playing Dedication. That's actually based on the real band. The
true story.
That's what the book the band played on, and that's what the movie the band played on is based on. I think Terminator 1 and 2 are overrated, but Salvation is pretty good. I've never heard anyone say that, Ulysses.
I thought two's fantastic.
Just out of curiosity, my brothers, not to demean you in any way, but how old are you? Could be an age thing, right? It's been 84 years. Oh man,
If
that
it
actress
is,
was so good. She was
yeah,
so
Jack
good.
wants to know what a VHS is, by the way.
Shut up, Jack. you
Jack, you know what a VHS
you know
is.
what it is. Because there's a damn movie series called VHS. Is
Yeah.
VHS okay, Brian? I know, and you know how many?
No, it is not.
Please stop. Please stop.
Because you
Please.
can't find VHSs anymore,
Wait,
whereas RSV is everywhere.
Classy
So-
Ulysses is only so you're 10 years younger than Amanda and 4 years older than I am. So okay. I worked at Blockbuster when that came out on VHS. They had a
Nice.
midnight sale for it.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
I remember working at Walmart and the soundtrack had the single. Y'all I don't do people even remember singles? Brian Hall, you
Yeah.
remember singles, right? You remember
I
singles.
mean,
Brian Hall's my age.
a single CD of just a single, and it has like 2 songs on it.
CD? Are you rich? I'm
I
talking
had
about a tape.
I had tapes too, but
Yeah.
eventually
So
I
like a
had
single when that song came out on single, boy, at Walmart we had to like form a line and it was like limit one. I hadn't seen anything like that since Elton John's remake when Princess Diana died of
when I had to get NSYNC, any of their albums, boy, those lines to get an NSYNC album was nuts.
was it?
Yes.
Omar, you kind of look like that. Thanks, man. I think that's a compliment. I need to get on the Bowflex though. My dude's got a big chest, so I need to get back on the Bowflex. I need to commit. Yes, people remember singles. I didn't know because we have some people that are in their 20s here that
Maybe
I don't know if they remember it. But let me tell you, singles was all I could afford. I couldn't afford the whole album because the whole album was like $11. Singles were like $1 or $2, man. Singles like a first drop in current music terms. Okay, that's what people call it. Yep. I would be a great gambit. Okay, Jack, you got yourself, buddy. VHS is the format that beat Betamax, even though Betamax was superior. But you said it, Bert, because of the availability of triple X.
It always comes around
That's
about
what did
the
it.
horn.
Just like HD DVD was a superior format to Blu-ray. Just saying. I bought Britney Spears. I bought Britney.
Well, not all of them. Not all of them were singles, but yes.
I bought Britney Spears album based on that cover, man. There's just something about
Which one?
I think I went to Catholic schools. The one where she's wearing a skirt. Like
The single, yes, but the actual album for Baby One More Time did not have that one.
No, it had her. I know what it had. She was sitting down.
It was pink in the background. Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister owned like every Britney Spears anything.
Don't at me.
Even like the German CD version that has an extra song on it. You know, we have to like find that crap.
Yo, you guys got me wanting to start a new segment on the channel called Back in My Day.
What would we talk? Did that we do on the show anyways?
We have people our age. It was such a long wait. None of this 2 to 3 month stuff like we got now. We waited at least 6 months and usually more to get home video releases, dude. And you remember when home video releases would hit and then it would be like $99 for a VHS. If you waited 3 more months, it'd be on HBO.
So true.
I used to buy CDs, but Spotify saved me. I think they still make CDs. I know they make vinyl.
They do. They still make CDs. They still make DVDs. Those things have not gone away quite yet.
I also went to Catholic school. Those outfits. That's all I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
Come for the Wakanda discussion. Stay for the Britney Spears talk. You never know where our conversation's going. I've been drinking bourbon and cranberry.
Oh
Kevin
my
Conroy died today, and it's just been a shit day. And I needed to cheer up, and you guys always cheer me up. So back in the day, Omar said he watched movies on 8mm and Super 8. No, I'm not that old. VHS looks like a year to hit. Yeah, I remember. And then remember, it was like 2 years before it was on like television. Because I remember waiting for the Karate Kid Part 2. We had to wait till like 1988 to watch it because my parents did not want to buy Cinemax. And it was back then. It was only exclusive. Like, oh my God, people these days have no idea. Back then, we had to wait. If it was exclusive to HBO, it was staying on HBO for like 3 months, and Cinemax wouldn't get it. Showtime wouldn't get it. I can't remember the movie channel. I think it was what it was called, the fourth network. they wouldn't get it. You just either buy it on VHS or you would have
Yeah,
to wait until the network would get it, or television would get it, but that would be about 2 to 3 years.
it's
Gotta
true.
rewatch Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Dude, I took a girl on a date to go see that. I didn't give a crap about the date. I can't even remember Molly. Her name was Molly.
There we
Molly,
go. You remember.
Molly Yeagle. And took her to see Mask of the Phantasm. She had no interest in Batman, and I didn't care.
Oh my gosh.
I needed an excuse to go see it.
There we go. So now that we've talked about Black Panther, though,
Yeah.
so next week we are
What
going
are
to
we doing next week?
well, next week we'll be back on Wednesday, the
Oh,
normal time, so that we can talk about our rankings for the the Phase 4 Marvel movies. So that's what we're going to do next week. Each one of us will rank our movies and TV shows, right?
each
Because
one
now
of us, everybody in the chat right now, y'all invited. She said each one of us.
Yeah, each one of us, all of you.
All of us.
So
All
make
of us.
your lists and feel free to chat them to us as we're talking about our own lists, and we can talk about those. Yes.
Smash that like button. Smash
Yes.
that like button. Yes, yes.
So yeah, we're going to talk about that next week. I'm really excited about that. And
I'm excited about that too. Amanda, tell me a little bit about the rules though. We're talking about MCU Phase 4. What kicked off MCU Phase 4?
So that's what I keep going back and forth on is I don't think it was Black Widow, right?
Was Black Widow still under the Phase 3, really? Because what okay.
No, I don't think it was.
Because what ended Phase 3 was
Yes, so Phase 4 so it was these are all the movies though.
How about Endgame? And what was the next Spider-Man movie after Tony died?
No, that was Far From Home. And Far From Home was more like an epilogue that capped off Phase 4.
All right, so people are saying WandaVision kicked off Phase 4. So then by that right, Black Widow is Phase 4 then.
Yes, so it was WandaVision, Falcon, and the Winter Soldier, Loki. Then Black Widow came out somewhere in Loki time frame. Then Shang-Chi, What If, Eternals, Hawkeye, Spider-Man No Way Home, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, Ms. Marvel, Thor, Love and Thunder. I did not watch the I Am Groot shorts, so I mean, I think I watched them on the background.
I did with my kiddo.
Yeah, so if we want to add those in, we can, but I feel like no, for the purpose of this ranking.
I'm adding it because it was better than Love and Thunder. Go ahead.
She-Hulk, Werewolf by Night, and Black Panther.
Okay,
so
yeah. This will be really fun. So everybody, you are welcome to come back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Was that an answer?
9 p.m. Yes, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I just
I have like 35 different messages.
Yeah, that's like all the stuff in order.
All right, there's Amanda's list of her favorites to lead.
No, that's in order.
Our least favorite is Wakanda Forever. I watched the Groot shorts. I thought they were adorable. I can't wait to see where you rank these things because Werewolf by Night, baby, that was good. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, when you started counting for TV shows, but I mean,
so we are going to count TV shows and movies. So everybody join us next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Panda.
Yep, to talk to do our rankings for Phase 4.
We'll have images and everything ready.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
Oh, we will. We will. I'll have something ready. I mean, I don't have to rewatch a lot of these.
We had a lot of things ready for today, apparently, because we had like that ready. The only thing we used was this stupid name.
It's not true. It's not true. You used this.
Oh, there he is. Dude, you better be casted as Dr. Doom, is all I'm saying.
No, there was a GIF I wanted to use of. I couldn't find an actual GIF of the orcas like launching Talakans in the air to fight the Wakandans, but I did find like a random GIF, but it's too big and I couldn't upload it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll get some Lupita GIFs, maybe. Okay, we'll get maybe some of those. It's hard to top. I mean, oh my God, where's my Nikita Lions? I'm gonna kill my wife.
I don't like. I'm
gonna kill my wife. Somebody's going in here purposely deleting my beautiful things. What is this? Why is this still in here?
Oh no!
Get rid of that thing. I'm gonna blame Melanie. We still got this. And these are classics, so you can't go wrong with the classics. But I'm gonna do some homework. You know what, Amanda? You take care of the images that we're actually using for the episode. I'll take care of the GIFs.
Sounds good. All right. Well, with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at Near Mint Con. Remember to check us out on Spreadshop for some great near mint condition merchandise. And also check us out on Patreon for $1 a month or more. You can support us here on the channel and everything that we do. And then last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint. Good journey, everyone. And we will see you next week for more Reels Talk.
Good journey. I love that.
Good journey.
Bye, everybody. Stay healthy. Smash that like button on the way out. Bye, everybody.
Yes.